why won't the Prime Minister admit that his decision to let in a record 547,000 migrants last year has been a significant reason for his homegrown housing crisis?
Order. The Assistant Treasurer will cease interjecting. Order. Prime Minister is going to be heard in silence. Prime Minister has the call.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. I thank the member for Deakin for his question. And of course, the figures that he referred to is what's occurred under the system that we inherited. The system that we inherited,
Order.
and a system that we are
Minister
fixing.
for Home Affairs, the
a system that we are fixing because what the 3 reviews that have been undertaken into our migration system have shown is that the migration system that we inherited was broken. It was a mess. You had people coming in allegedly to do study that were not actually doing any training. They were just ticking that box off, and then they were continuing to work here and engage here. Now, the figures as well, it must be made this point, that the projections that were there under the former government were for a higher population than we have in Australia now. And when it comes to housing, that I'm also asked about, what we know is that we inherited a system where they simply they've never seen a social housing project that they supported, and that's one thing with their opposition to the Housing Australia Future Fund. But they've also opposed, just during this sitting fortnight, the build-to-rent tax incentives, along with the Greens, and the justification for opposing this is that developers build housing. That's the justification. So they're against public housing and they're against private rentals. But in opposing the Help to Buy scheme, they're also against home ownership.
Prime Minister will order. The Minister for the National Disability Insurance Scheme will cease ejecting. So will the Minister for Home Affairs, so I can hear the member for Deakin on a point of order.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. The point of order again is on relevance. It can't be relevant to the question for the Prime Minister to critique the opposition, given it was his ministers boasting about the number of visas.
The question was about the Prime Minister's decision regarding a migration number, and was that a reason to deal with the housing crisis? Now, the Prime Minister is obviously not agreeing with that proposition put forward, so he's outlining his reasons why that is the case, and he'll just need to make sure his comments are directly relevant to the question. He can't stray into other areas of policy topics because it was specific around housing. So I'll just ask the Prime Minister to return to the question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm certainly talking about housing because we want more social homes. That was deferred by those opposite. We want more private rentals. That's currently blocked over in the Senate, and we want more home ownership, and that's still being blocked by those opposite as well. So I'm not sure what form of housing they want, because they don't want public housing, they don't want private rentals, and they don't want home ownership. All 3 have they opposed. But I'm interested to note, Mr. Speaker, that the Queensland LNP have come out with an election policy. You know what it is? Shared equity. Shared equity. David Crisafulli has come out with a policy saying that he will have a shared equity scheme if he's elected in Queensland.
Prime Minister's
Here they're against it, up there they're for it.